Right, it's Dave at All Important Reviews. Please click the subscribe button to get more of my videos. It's going to be principally watches, software and some other tech and gadgets that I will be reviewing. Today I've got with me the Invicta Pro Diver 3610. They're calling it a dive watch in Invicta's marketing. It is a 100-meter water resistance watch, so it's debatable about whether you'd class that as a diver. As a specification overview, 43mm diameter, Jubilee style bracelet, 5-link bracelet with the polished inners and brushed outers, deployment clasp with safety latch. It's a solid link bracelet, but that it does have hollow end links, and the clasp is only made from pressed steel. It's not actually machined steel, so it is a bit flimsy, the clasp, to be honest. Now, Invicta class this as a blue watch. That's what I can see in their marketing, and the pictures online show it as a blue dial and bezel, but unfortunately it is not blue at all. It is a teal colour. It is like a mix between green and blue, but a very quite a dark teal. So I bought this watch because I like the colour blue, and I wanted a kind of cheap diver, just as another watch to review, and just to see how well they could do this bracelet from Invicta. And overall, they've not done a bad job. For what I paid for this watch, which was a whopping 46 GBP, so paid, a very small amount of money for this watch. And to be fair, it's not a bad watch overall. But I'm going to talk about some of the issues with it later on. But start off with the movement. It is a quartz watch. I am a massive fan of quartz watches because I care more about the time than I do about fancy automatic movements. Now, I know a lot of watch enthusiasts would cringe at that comment, but I don't really care because I'm a much more practical person, and I'm just not interested in fancy automatic movements. That having said that, I will be purchasing, and I have purchased many automatic watches, and I do use them, and it is a marvelous technology how they can operate without a battery in the way that they do. But I much prefer to be able to tell accurate time than I do about having an elaborate mechanical movement. Now, so it is a quartz movement. The crystal will be a mineral crystal. There's no mention of sapphire or synthetic sapphire on their website. It does have the Cyclops. The Cyclops is moderately magnifies the date window. The issue I have with this dial is two things. Although it's all loomed, all the markers are loomed, including the seconds hand, which is kind of neat. The markers do not perfectly align. The hands do not perfectly align with the markers. That happens on an unbelievable quantity of watches. I've had watches that are just below £1,000 that don't perfectly align all the way around the dial. So, I can't really criticise them significantly for the fact that the second hand does not perfectly match up. The issue I have is two things. One is the colour. Is that this? If you look at the colour on their marketing material on their website for this model, the actual photos they've used do not look teal. They look like a blue. And on the eBay sellers page that I bought the watch, it also looks blue. And yet the model that I've received is definitely not blue, as I've mentioned. Now, it's a kind of 1980s bathroom greeny blue colour, which I don't personally think is that nice, but it's definitely a colour I've not seen on a watch before. Just looking at it now, when you look very close to the dial, it can at times look blue. But that might be an issue for some people, and it is an issue for me. The other issue is it has this kind of wave etching on the dial, which I'm not 100% convinced it works. I mean, it is different than other watch manufacturers in that it does add a bit of character to the watch, but I'm not particularly convinced it works that much. But it's there nevertheless. The writing is fine and the Invicta logo is fine. Again, the bezel, standard unidirectional bezel, quite difficult to move actually. It's quite a tough bezel to turn. Decent clicking action. I can't really say there's much complaints there, especially for what I paid. The case is all stainless steel. It does have the polished sides, and it has the Invicta laser etching again, the logo there. I mean, it's another feature that they've added. Now, the bracelet, oh, sorry, the case back, you can't see through. Obviously, it's a Quartz watch, so there's not much to see. Let's see if you can see that. Now, the actual bracelet is an okay bracelet. The links, there's nothing wrong with the links. The links are fine. They're pins. They're not screw pins. But they're easy to come out. All of them came out no problem on mine. I've took out quite a few. I always wear my watches that are shorter, generally on the 6 o'clock side, so that it kind of keeps the watch in position on my wrist. Now, the bracelet looks very nice. The issue I have with this bracelet is two things. Although it does have the safety catch on the clasp, that can at times be a bit difficult to come out. The actual deployment mechanism, see now it feels okay, but before, when I wore it the other day for work, it was a bit sticky coming out. But it feels okay, but it could do with some push buttons, basically. Doesn't have any push buttons. There's 4 micro adjust notchments on the clasp, so you can get a nice fit. The other issue I have with it, it's not really the fact it doesn't have solid end links, because I'm more bothered about the overall comfort and practicality of the bracelet rather than the fact it might have or may not have solid end links. But I suppose that is a small negative. But the issue I have as well is that, I'll just put it on my wrist. Although, 5-link Jubilee style bracelets generally are extremely comfortable, there is no tapering or very little tapering. It's a 22mm bracelet. So there's only, if there is tapering, there's only a mild amount. And I don't know if it's the back of the folding arms or what, but something there does a little bit aggravate the wrist at times. It catches it. So maybe if I was going to keep this watch and not sell it on, maybe I will put a file or something to smooth that edge out, because something there does catch it sometimes. I think it's the back of the folding arms. But generally it's a good bracelet. You get quite a nice tight fit. Stays in position. Looks okay. The colour is a strange colour, but it will be quite a nice little holiday watch, a cheap little dive watch. The 100-metre water resist, I would say you'd be completely fine with swimming in that. I don't personally dive. I mean, I have done in the past, but not recently. Technically, I think a 100-metre dive, 100-metre water resistance watch is not technically a dive watch, although that is debatable. But I mean, snorkeling, I think you'd be absolutely fine. Going the vast majority of people that do go diving do not go to depths where you would probably, affect the water resistance of this watch anyway. So I think you'd be perfectly fine for swimming on holiday with this. Invicta is a polarizing brand. I know many people don't like it, but it is a Swiss brand that's been around for years and years. I have a number of Invicta watches. This one I'm going to say is okay. It'll be a good cheap, you know, holiday watch to go swimming in, or to get knocked about, because you're not going to be that bothered about knocking it around at the price you pay, which is below 50 quid. I think it actually does retail a lot more than that, but I got it on eBay for a cheap deal. All in all, I'm going to say it's an okay watch for what I paid. You can get a lot worse for 46 quid. The bezel, I forgot to mention, it's not ceramic. It'll be some kind of aluminium alloy. So that will probably scratch up fairly easily. But all in all, an okay little dive watch.